change the world with every word. We're gonna change the world with every word. God on the side, all is possible. A destiny unstoppable. With God on the side, all is possible. A destiny unstoppable. Come on, cadets, the feet are out here. Make sure your lead is simple and clear. Change the world with every word. We're gonna change the world with every word. We're gonna change the world with every word.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Good evening, not good morning. Good evening, everyone. And welcome to the Let's Talk event. We're going to be talking about property valuations. Before we get going, though, we're going to need to do some house cleaning, if I can call it that. So I've got on my screen, and we just want to make sure that we call people by names should you raise your hand. We've got a Galaxy A5 2016. If you can just indicate what your name is so that we can capture you by your name, as well as iPad. So if iPad can tell us what their names is, so that we can capture their name instead of being referred to as iPad, as well as the number 856-1491-157. So if the number, let's start with Galaxy. Can we get your name, Galaxy?
Eldon.
I don't think that's Eldon. Eldon, we've got your name on. We need to get the names. We can't have the unnamed. Unfortunately, we can't have unnamed profiles. If we can get the names. The person using Galaxy A5, I see you've got an issue. Can you perhaps maybe type in the chat your name, or just exit so that you can come back in, and then so that you can give us your name? We'll just appreciate that if you can hear us. And then let's also deal with 856-149-11573. Can you please unmute and tell us who you are? Okay. We're going to be very strict. Like, if there's no name, we'll need to remove the people on this, because we want to also protect every person that is here attending with, there is internet security. So we also want to make sure that we secure the people here. So if 856-1491-1573 can please confirm what the name is, so that we know that that is an actual person and not just a number. It will also help when we call you out should you need to speak. Okay, there is nothing. Okay, unfortunately, we're going to have to remove this person. Okay. And then now let's go to iPad. iPad, I'm going to ask you to unmute. If you can just tell us who you are so that we can capture your name. Okay, we're also not getting a response from iPad. Sorry about that, iPad. Okay, now Galaxy, I'm going to remove you, like as I've asked, like if you can please try and come back. I know it might be an actual person. We just want to make sure of that because this is a public meeting. So we also want to make sure that security on Zoom protects everybody else. Okay. All right. So we are waiting for more people to join. There's people that are just waiting on the sidelines. There are people that are waiting on the sidelines also to join. So we're gonna get started. Sorry about that. We also want to make sure that digital security is adhered to. And then Willem, I see you've got a problem with audio, Nikita as well. So hopefully it does catch wherever you are. But you can always try and just exit and come back if it's still not giving you access. So we want to make sure that whenever we are ready to communicate, everybody can participate. All right. Hi, Melissa. Good to have you here. I'm gonna let more people in. All right. So I take it most people here are familiar with Zoom, but in case that many people that are not familiar with Zoom, I'm gonna go through some of the processes that we're going to follow. First of all, please make sure that if you are not speaking, you are always on mute. You'll see on your bottom left corner, there is a microphone. If I click on it again, now you can hear me because I'm unmuted. If there's a line across it, it's unmuted. And then right next to it is a video function. I see Etienne has started exercising the video function, which is great. It's right next to it. If you put a line across it, we can't see you. And if you put a line, you know, like as I have it, if I put the line across, you can't see me. But if I click on it again, you can see me. So I'm just making sure that we understand those things. And then the other thing is that when you speak, you don't have to keep your video on. But when you speak, if I can ask that you put your video on so that we can see you and hear you at the same time, so that we have a great meeting. And just keeping in mind, just keeping in mind that this is being broadcast on Facebook. So people are watching on Facebook. We've got a number of people already watching on Facebook. I want to also welcome the people watching us on Facebook. If anyone on Facebook is currently watching, please note that we are going to have a answers and questions section. So on that section, I'm going to ask you, well, you don't have to wait for them. You can just ask your question in the comment section, and we will take your questions from there. So don't feel like if you're on Facebook, everyone to mute, please. Everyone except myself to mute. Thank you. Sorry about that. So yeah, so we've got people on Facebook as well. So we'll also accommodate them as well. So yeah, so we're gonna get started. So I have welcomed everyone to the meeting. I'm gonna say Aneta, I think it's from your side. I'm going to ask you to always be on mute, please. Please always make sure that you are on mute, and so that we don't have any disturbance during the meeting. Okay, right. Without wasting any time, we are going to get started, and the first speaker that we're going to have is Alta de Beer. Alta is the spokesperson for Municipal Public Accounts Committee for the Democratic Alliance. Barry, please mute. Guys, we don't have time to check who's muted and who's not. Can we ask you that you check on your side that you're muted at all times, please? So yeah, we are going to do that. Right. Okay, can all the people please? All right. Now, Alta, I'm going to give over to you right now so that you can take us through on what is it that we are here for and what we've been doing as the DA. Good. Take it away, Alta.
Yes, good evening. Thank you very much, Malcolm, for this opportunity. Good evening, fellow councillors that are online, and then also good evening to all of our residents from Ekurhuleni, and also our special guest, Chantal. Welcome to our meeting. Thank you, Malcolm, for the opportunity to discuss the current issue on hand with regards to the property valuation role. I'm going to go through my presentation. I'm going to try and keep it to my 10 minutes, but I've got so much to say about this current issue that we've got. I could probably go on for 2 days. I'll try and keep it short, and let's keep the questions for later on. I'm quite happy to answer any questions. Also, if we run out of time, my contact details will be at the end of this presentation, so you're welcome to email me or send me a WhatsApp for some additional information. Right.
Sorry, Alta, I'm
Yes.
gonna allow you to go through your entire presentation. Please don't worry about trying to figure out whether you're on time or not. Just go through your presentation.
Thank you very much. Right, let's. Okay, right. Okay, let's see if I can get my presentation to go down. It doesn't look like it. Okay, so I'll have to do this. Sorry about this, but I can't get the presentation to move up and down. Okay, so in terms of our view, the valuation role is riddled with mistakes. There are lots of inconsistencies of valuations on similar properties within similar streets and suburbs. The method used to determine the new valuation role is unclear, and we haven't received any clarification from the city up to now. There's also no confirmation from the city on whether the processes were followed as per the Municipal Property Rights Act number 6 of 2004 as amended. That is the act that will rule how the process should take place in terms of any municipality or metro doing the new valuation roles. Also, the city will not allow any electronic submissions. And from our point of view, that is absolutely just because of the inability to plan. They had a whole year to plan this, but obviously it's like everything else, it's lastminute.com. Okay, so what we have done to assist our residents up to now is we did submit a petition to council to ask the city to make an option available on the website for residents to submit their objections electronically. We've also tabled an urgent motion to council, that was 2 weeks ago, requesting that the city manager provide us with evidence of the date of the appointment of the designated municipal valuer. And that is very important because the municipal valuer cannot be appointed after the starting date, which is the 1st of July 2020 of the valuation roll. Now, we've got evidence that indicates that that might have been the case. Also, we haven't received any evidence on the date of the evaluation roll, which is also very important in terms of the act and the process that needs to take place. We've requested from the city and the city manager to provide written support on the method applied by the municipal valuer in determining the property valuations. And no answers has been given to us. It's unclear, so it is a real point of concern for us on how did they arrive on the valuations that they've published. And then lastly, the most important point in that urgent motion was we've requested that the city manager applies to the MEC for local government in Gauteng to extend the current property valuation roll with 12 months. In order for the city to investigate the validity of the market values as determined by the municipal valuer. If we don't get this right, it will mean that all of us that have received property increases from up to 350, there's some people whose properties went up by 1,000%, will have to pay on the new property values from the 1st of July. So this is our main aim, and this is the issue that we're driving, is to get the city to postpone the current valuation roll with 12 months. Now, our urgent motion was rejected by the Speaker of Council and the ANC and its coalition partners. So we've then immediately started with the online petition where we tried to get about 20,000 signatures to allow us to take that petition to the city and the city manager to see if that will not assist us by motivating to the city manager to ask for this extension. We've also submitted some questions for further clarification to the finance department, and then there's questions for verbal answering by the executive mayor in our April council meeting. So this is what we've done up to now to assist our residents. Right. So what our residents should know is that the new property valuation should be as of the 1st of July 2020 and not at the current valuation. And I know that there are lots of people that are requesting estate agents to assist them with property valuations. And I've seen that because many people have sent their objections and motivations to me just to have a look at it. And those valuations are all wrong because it's based on the current market value. So if you are looking at the new value, please make sure that you are feeling comfortable that it's as of the 1st of July 2020. Then just in terms of the term market value, it means it's the fair market value that an informed buyer would have paid for your property on the 1st of July 2020, taking into consideration that we were in the middle of COVID and our economy was at a very low point. So you have to say to yourself, just like what I have to do, if I had to sell my house on the 1st of July 2020, would I have received the 16.5 million that the city have valued my house at on the new roll? Or would I have received maybe 2 million for my house? And possibly the 2 million is the more accurate one because there were not a lot of buyers in the market. So that will be also part of, if you do the objection, that will be part of your motivation that you would put forward. Then any person or organization can object as long as the property owner is informed. So any person in my road or in my suburb or in Ekurhuleni can object against my property value, saying that my property value is much lower than what it should be. Also, the city can object. So the city can look at the roll and all of the anomalies and omissions, and they can put their own objection in against my property. And I think it's a very important point to remember, and I'll give you a little bit more detail later on in the presentation. Something else to also know is that the municipal valuer can only adjust the values 10% up or down. So let's say he decided that my 16.5 million was a mistake. He can only reduce my value by 10%. If he reduces it more than 10%, he will have to write a motivation, and that must go to the city manager and then to the appeals committee to then look at his reasons for adjusting it more than 10%. But let's say he comes back to me and say, here's your new objection. We believe that 15 million is still the correct value. Then I, as the property owner, can say, I'm not happy with that, and I will then go to the appeals process, which is the process that will take place after the objection process. Just for information, the city have just finalized the objections and appeals from the 2016 valuation roll. They've received 50,000 appeals, and quite a large portion of that were objections from the city itself. Okay, so a question that I get on a daily basis from our residents is who should object? So residents whose properties were omitted from the valuation roll should object. If your property value increased or decreased by more than 5%, you should object. If your information on the roll is incorrect, your property description, your owner information, or your property category is incorrect, you should object. And then this goes for all property owners, whether you're a commercial property owner, a freehold or a title, 100% title deed owner, a sectional title owner, or if you own agricultural land. If you're not happy with your valuation, you should put an objection in. Now, I've got people whose houses were valued at 7 million in 2016, and their properties are now valued at 1 million. And they said, oh, well, we're happy with our new valuation. For those owners, I would advise them to please go and object, because the city, when they look through the roll, they can object on the roll for that specific property because of the value. They could make a motivation to say that there was a mistake in the calculation. Then that property owner, once the new roll has been published, won't have another opportunity to object. So rather get your objection in, and so that you've got recourse if the city also put an objection in against your property value. And what I've put in here is I've just put the FNB house price index in, just for people to see that the property index for June 2020 was 0.7%. That means that our property should only have gone up by plus minus 1%. So in terms of people that have received these high new property values, they should really take a serious decision to make the effort to object against it. Now, where can you find your new property value? The Section 49 letters were delivered by Mr. Delivery, and it should be in your post box, but in some foot canvassing that we've done over the last couple of weeks, I found letters in flower pots, like you can see in my photo here. I found them just in driveways, stuck to the fence. So just make sure that you look out for these letters. They might be anywhere in your property. So that will give you the indication. If you haven't received your letter yet, or the dog ate it, or it rained and you can't read what's been printed, you can also go to one of the objection centers. There are 19 of them, and that is our customer care centers. And you'll find the valuation roll there, and you will be able to look up your property value there. Or you can go onto the Ekurhuleni website, where you can go and look up your property and find your valuation on there. To do the objection, you don't need the Section 49 letter. As long as you know what the new value is, you can put the objection letter in. Now, I've just prepared a couple of slides just to show everybody where to go on the website to look for their property values. So you go onto the ekurhuleni.gov.za website, and then on the landing page, you go under For Me, and then select Property Valuations and Rebates. So once you've selected that, another table will pop up, and you will select Valuation Rolls. So once you're in the valuation rolls, you'll get to another landing screen, and you'll see Valuation Roll Search will pop up at the top of that screen. You select that. Then you'll have one of two options, full title properties or sectional scheme units. So if you full title property, you go and add or type in your account number in the account number block, and it will then bring up all of your information. So the owner name, the property address, the account number, the new value, and there should also be a billing identifier. So that is the category that your property will fall under. So you can either download it. It is available on an Excel spreadsheet or a PDF, so you can just print it from there and then use it for your objection. So obviously if you stay in a flat or in townhouses, you will select the sectional scheme units. Once you select that, again, you'll put in your account number, and you will see what your new valuation is. Now, if you decide to object on the same website and on the same landing pages where the valuation roll search is, you can go to online forms, and there you can download the objection form. So the objection forms are there, as well as the appeal form. So when you go through the next process to appeal, you'll also just go and download the form from there. If you can't download it from there, the forms are also available at the CCC centers or the objection centers. Right, so people ask me, so why object? What is the reason the city will not do anything about it? It is important for every single one of us. If we're not happy with our property value, we should object, okay? If there's a large number of objections, it will force the city to take note of the issues with the valuation role. And maybe the city will then start taking the necessary actions, and then maybe also consider the extension, the 12-month extension that we're currently driving, in order to investigate what caused all of the objections and the mistakes that's currently on the valuation roll. It will also affect your pocket because you will have to pay higher rates because now your property is at a higher value. And if they apply the factors to it, so it's between 127 Rand and 140 Rand, depending on the area where you stay, per 100,000 Rand. So if yours went up by 13 million Rand, just imagine, you know, what my new rates bill will be on the 1st of July. I think I worked out like 23,000. So that's even more money than what I own. So please consider doing that objection. So if your property is undervalued, the council may adjust the valuation through the objection process. So they can put objections in, which will go to the valuer, and he can do a 10% up or down, and then he can then, or the city can then ask that it goes to the appeals committee if they feel it shouldn't be at 1 million, it should rather be at 7 million. Then lastly, why you should object is to ensure that your property is valued correct for future sales and financing, because all of these property values go on all of the sites of the banks and tools like Lightstone, where that property value go and sit on that website or the Windeed website. So let's say I want to sell my property and it's now valued at 1 million. But if I want to sell it in a year's time, I believe it's worth 5 million, then I'm going to have a huge issue to sell my property at 5 million if all of these other websites indicate that my municipal value is only 1 million. So I think it's very important to make sure that your property is valued at the value that you're comfortable with. Right, so in terms of the objection process, like I've explained, you can download the forms from the Ekurhuleni website. There are copies available from the CCC offices. And you have to, when you complete your objection form, and I know a lot of people just go into the objection centers and they sit there and they quickly fill in the form and hand it back. Now, if you're serious about your objection, you will make sure that you motivate the reasons for your objection in terms of what you believe that market value is. And part of your motivation might be a valuation that you got from a estate agent or a valuation that you got from one of these online tools. You'll also add to your motivation the lack of service delivery in your area, problematic properties around you, properties that's been in the market for a long time that cannot sell. And so the list goes on. But make sure that you do a proper motivation with your objection. That is the only way that you're going to have a higher rate of success when it goes through to the appeals committee. Because what I can see is that 90% of our objections will end up with the appeals committee because of the municipal valuer, the fact that he can only adjust the valuations 10% up or down. And most of our properties are valued more than 10% more than what it is currently. So add as much information as possible. Like what I've done is I took photos of all of the empty properties around me, all these, the dirt that's in the road, the potholes, everything. So make sure you add as much supporting information to your objection as possible. If you're unsure, seek advice and assistance from professional companies. And I think this is very important. Like for me, it's worth it for me to pay somebody to assist me in making sure that my objection and my motivation is of such a standard that when the appeals committee look at it, once it gets there, they should look at the motivation, how the calculations were done in terms of what I think the market value should be, and they should just adjust my property valuation from there. So that is some advice that I would really like to share with everybody. So the forms must be handed in at one of our 19 objection centers or CCC offices. No electronic submissions will be accepted. A third party, like if you appoint, like what I've done, a professional company, that company can hand in your objection form and motivation on your behalf with the necessary mandate. And once you've handed in your objection or a third party hands it in on your behalf, you will receive an objection number. And it's very important to keep that number in order to follow up, because we know what's happening. The city is going to look at your objection. They're going to send a letter again with Mr. Delivery that they're just going to throw in your flower pot. You don't see it. And you'll miss the opportunity then to go and say that you're not happy with the adjustment, you want to go to the appeals committee. So it's very important to keep that number in order to track where your objection and then obviously your appeal are in the process. The closing date for objections is the 18th of June. So although it sounds like it's still a couple of months ago, it's around the corner. Please go and do your homework, get your information ready, and make sure you hand in that objection form before the 18th of June, or as soon as possible, in order for us to start flooding the city with the objections so that they can realize that there's a huge problem somewhere in their system. Okay, so what are we doing as a DA caucus, and what are our next steps? If you haven't signed our online petition yet, please go online on our DA website and sign our petition. So if the city is not willing to do the application for the extension to the MEC of local government in Gauteng, we are going to apply for an urgent court application to the High Court on behalf of the residents to set this role aside for 12 months. We've already got some professionals that are assisting us in the preparation for the court application and are willing to assist us. Obviously, we're going to need some funding, so we're going to ask for crowdfunding, and hopefully in the next week or so we would set up the website for that, and we're going to ask residents that are really serious about their property valuations to contribute, and doesn't matter how big or small, whether it's R1 or R100 or R1,000, if you can contribute, we already appreciate that. And then we will just continue to assist and support our residents through the process. We are available. All the ward councillors are available to assist where possible. We will direct you to the right people to go and find the necessary advice or support with your property valuation, whether it's through the objection process or through the appeals process. Thank you. So My contact details are on the screen. If people want to take note of that, you're welcome to send me an email or send me a WhatsApp. Just add your name and address in there for me as well. Also, what the problem is, whether your property is valued over or under or not on the roll. And also remember to include your account number for me. So when I look at the different rolls, I can find your valuation. Thank you very much. Malcolm, I'm handing over to you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Alta. We are now going to just give me some time to do some admin as well, because there were some people still looking to come in. Again, I'm gonna ask, if you are not speaking, please mute. I know some people came after we did the introductions. So if you're not speaking, please mute. And if Alta, have you stopped sharing your screen? Alta? Okay, if you can just stop sharing your screen, Alta, as well from your side. Okay, Alta, I'm going to start with the questions that have been asked from Facebook. Let me just quickly check here. Esther is just telling us she's here. Hi, Esther. Good to see you as well. And then Sharon Botma asked, would an increase by 1 million be an extreme increase? So like maybe that's the example that you used there, Alta. So if you can just clarify on that one. And then I'm not sure, Don, your question about who is the professional company to assist. I think there's various of them depending on what you are looking at. So so Sharon just clarified, saying when she says 1 million, it is a 48% increase on her property. So if you can just take that question as well. I'm not sure, Don, in terms of who, because I know we've got Chantel on the platform to assist, to talk about the nitty-gritties. I know Alta touched on a few of those as well. So like so those nitty-gritties will also be covered as well. So if you can just take those two questions. Oh, there's another one. Jackie asked about the petition, if we've reached the petition number. So if you can just update. What I'll do is I will just actually, on the comments on Facebook, I've just posted the link. So if people can still sign the link on Facebook, so that also helps. All right, Alta, to you on whatever you can answer on those questions.
Thank you very much, Malcolm. Thank you, Sharon, for your question. Yes, 1 million is extreme. It's not extreme if your property is worth 100 million. But if it is a 48% increase, I would definitely encourage you to object, because 48% is extreme. And if you have to ask yourself the question, will you be able to sell your property in the current market at that value? Or the question should be, on the 1st of July 2020, would you have received that price when you sold your property? Dawn, in terms of professional companies, there are a couple of them. I'm happy to share, if people send me a WhatsApp, a couple of the names that you can contact and take it from there. Jackie, what was Jackie's question?
Yeah, it was just about the petition. Have we reached that 20,000, or are we still somewhere off?
I think we're on just over 7,000 at the moment. So we need still 13,000 people. Taking into consideration, we've got 700,000 properties in Ekurhuleni. And I just want to also mention something. I have a lot of people that say to me that, oh, it's only the suburbs, it's our suburbs where the properties have increased drastically. It's actually not true. We've got people in RDP houses whose houses were valued at 705,000 and their new values is 1.5 million. So theirs have actually increased with 100%. So it's touching everybody in Ekurhuleni and not only certain people in Ekurhuleni. Thanks, Malcolm.
Okay, so Alta, I'm gonna also get, there's another question from our Member of Parliament, Tsholofelo Bojani, who's asking, or was first said, this was a great presentation and thanks to you, Alta. And how will my neighbor's objection and possible relook at their property affect her property valuation, if at all? So I don't know if you know the answer for that one. Will that be affected in some way, and what will be the effect of that? Yeah, so let's take all the Facebook questions first, and then we'll move over to everyone on Zoom, where you are allowed to raise your hand and take part as well. Okay, Alta.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Tsholofelo, and welcome to the meeting. No, so every objection is per property. Something else I didn't mention is a suburb or a ratepayers association or a group of people or a road closure cannot object. The objection is per property. So if I object and my neighbors don't object, then if my property gets reduced to 2 million, it would not affect the properties around me. But it is like what we've done in our street. We had a little meeting and we all said, we agreed that our properties are not valued correctly. So we're all going to object, and we all will use more or less a similar value in terms of the size of our properties. Thanks, Malcolm.
Thank you very much. Before I take Chantel to take us through her part of the presentation, I'm going to allow everyone who is on Zoom to also ask questions on the presentation. I'm going to also start, if I may, Alta, I'm going to start with what's the name? The chats as well on Zoom. So now I see many says, what are the chances that we will get the council's attention? We had a meeting with HOD of electricity 3 months ago, and they are just ignoring all Alta's emails. I'll take it from your word, Alta. How can we get the council to realize we are serious? So like, obviously, what more? I would imagine it's also on the petition side, but I'll let Alta take that question. And then Etienne said, so if the municipality knows this, why are they not reacting to it? So I think Alta, you can just maybe reiterate on the what's the motion that we put in and the reasons why we put it. Thanks, Alta. We'll take, I see there are hands, we'll take their hands after Alta takes these questions. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Malcolm. So Mani, yes, we had that meeting with the HOD for energy, and he still cannot provide us with the plan on how they're going to do the upgrades and the budget related to that. It is budget week this week and next week in terms of public participation. Make sure you attend or send your questions to your councillor. If it's me, I will definitely be there on think our one is on Thursday evening, and I will definitely ask the department where is the plan and where is the budget. So, and for the council to take us really serious, that this is why we're already preparing for this High Court application, because we know that the council is using this opportunity to just put their heads in the sand. And 1st of July, they know they're going to get the cash flow that they need to maybe see us through the next year in terms of our cash issues in the city. I'm not saying it is true, but that is what I think what is happening. We've got a shortage of cash, and it's a good way to get some quick cash flow in and then try and correct it at the later stage. So they will make us all pay for on our new rate, and only once the appeals process is finalized, like it took 4 years on the previous one, they will then put a credit on your account. And we know we'll never ever get the money from the city. They'll rather just use it against our monthly utility bill. So that is my theory on it. I might be wrong, but I think that is why they don't want to entertain, or they did not want to entertain our urgent motion. But we're not going to stop until we get them to sit up and listen that there is a serious problem. Something else I would like to advise people, it's just my advice, is if you're not happy with your property valuation and you're going to do an objection, also write a letter to the finance department and ask them to keep your current rate that you pay on for property rates at the current value until the appeals process have been finalized. That is something that I'm going to do, and I would encourage residents to do that. Just keep in mind, if they do adjust your property up, that you will have to pay the difference in once the appeals process have been finalized. So just rather put that money in a separate bank account. So at the end of the process, you might have a lot of money to go and spend, or you'll have to pay it to the council.
Okay, thank you, Alta. And I'm going to ask, if you're asking questions, please try and keep it as short as possible. I've got two hands. I've got Lawrence, and I've got Andrew, whose hands are up. So I'm going to start with Lawrence. Lawrence, over to you. Lawrence, you're still muted. Okay, Lawrence?
Yes, my question is just a short question. Alta, I want you to go back to that figure again. You said for every 100,000 a difference from your previous valuation, you'll be paying something like 140 Rand. Is that correct?
Okay, and let me just take Andrew as well. Andrew? Just asked you to unmute, Andrew.
Sorry, I'm just reconnected. I just wanted to find out, in one of the sessions we had earlier this month, it was mentioned that the Section 49 letters will be uploaded to council systems for people to go in and draw it at the council. Is there any indication if that has been completed or not yet?
Okay. I'm going to take Roger because his hands is up as well. Roger, please come in.
Yes. Just another interesting point. Alta did indicate that your valuations loaded up to Lightstone and all those systems. It's very important for the business owners, property owners to know, should they have a structural fire on their property, the insurance company uses that to see if you were overinsured or underinsured. So in Alta's case, they're going to say she was massively underinsured, and they're going to apply a law of average to her payout on a property fire claim. So it's not only your rates and taxes that are going to be affected by this, your insurance cover is also going to be affected.
Okay, all right, that's just a comment. And then we've got Kagiso Mokoena. Kagiso, please come in.
Okay, thanks a lot, sir. I've got a suggestion here. Previously, we have saw on the spreadsheet there, I think Ms. Alta have shared with us some informative information. So I would suggest, if maybe is it possible if we can have the thorough information that was on the spreadsheet, so that whenever, since we are running the petition online, to go in the community to share some information to alert members of the community to be able to sign our petition. And I have foreseen that there are some informative information that we have seen shared there on this meeting. So I would like to make a request for our co-host to be able to share that information with us. Thanks a lot for the opportunity to share my views, Chair.
Okay. No problem. Thanks, Kagiso. Okay, Alta, over to you with those questions, and we will then, after these responses, we'll go to Chantal.
Yeah, thank you very much, Roger. You're absolutely right around the insurance and the property not being valued correctly when there is a claim. And I think the claim also go for any other structural damages to rain and fire or wind or whatever. And also that will also mean an increase in my insurance if I do go back to the insurance company and put my property value up at 16.5 million. So that will mean more pocket out of my pocket and more money into somebody else's pocket. The section 49 letters, Andrew, we haven't received confirmation that that's been uploaded yet, but please just go onto the website and look up your valuation and just print it from there. I think it will save your blood pressure for the day. Then in terms of the Lawrence, thank you. Yes, the range is between 127 Rand per month and 140 Rand per month, depending where you stay, per 100,000. So for Sharon, her value went up by 1 million. So let's say her where she stays in her area, it's 150 Rand. That means she will pay 1,300 Rand more per month on her rates bill. Then Kagiso, I'm very happy to share my presentation, and I'm very happy for you to use it to inform our residents accordingly. Thank you.
Okay, right. Thank you very much, Alta. So now, I think the question from Facebook we'll just cover just now. We are going to give Chantal, an opportunity to go through her presentation. Vili, if you don't mind, I see your hands. If you don't mind, I'll take you also on the next round of questions, if that's okay. I've just started going through to Chantal. Chantal, please come in.
Hi, Malcolm. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Alta. What an amazing presentation. I think you answered almost all of the questions that everybody has. It was really thorough. Thank you, Malcolm, for arranging this online meeting. This is one of my first ones, so I'm quite nervous. So I was checking Property 24 out, and if you have a look at that, they give you the stats of what has been sold in the areas. And I just took Brackenhurst and I took Meyersdal, for instance. And from 2020 to 2021, the valuations or the average selling prices went up with about 100,000. So it didn't go up millions, as the council is saying. And then if you have a look at Property 24, you'll see that in 2017, we were at our highest in our selling prices. But then in 2018, it dropped. Our average selling prices dropped. In 2019, it dropped a little bit more. And then in 2020, we sort of stabilized again. So in actual fact, if you look at it, we're back to the same prices as what we were in 2017, even though the market is showing different. What's on the market is not what our properties are selling for. So if I've got a property on the market for 2 million, I'm not going to be selling it for 2 million. I'm selling it for about a 1.7, depending on what's happening in the market at the time. So remember in 2020, before the lockdown, lots of transactions were taking place before we got locked down. We were also doing a lot of offers during lockdown online, subject to viewing properties when we came out of lockdown. So in June, there was a huge spike in sales because we were now able to take our buyers through and secure the deals from there. So I would say property valuation has maybe gone up about a 1% or on a maximum about a 2%. And then we've also got to take into consideration a lot of our residents and owners of properties have lost jobs due to COVID. A lot of our residents are pensioners who have paid off their properties, say 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And now they're having to pay triple the amount of rates because of an area that maybe sold a house last year for double the price. So we definitely are going to see, if this comes through, we're going to see a lot of properties on the market for high prices, which are not going to sell, which means that a lot of our pensioners are going to be losing their properties or selling for under market value because they're going to have to get rid of their properties very quickly. So there's a lot of things that we need to take into consideration. But definitely, I mean, we had a pensioner. So on the 20th of March, we were at the Alberton Mall just to assist everybody with objections and just to show them how to do the objections and what to fill in. And we had a pensioner there who lives in Meyersdal, whose property was valued in 2017 at 1.7, and now he's got a valuation of 4.7 million. And the property, nothing much has been done on the property, and he's a pensioner. How's he going to afford the rates now? So he's going to have to sell eventually. I think that's all I have. So yeah, I just want to thank Councillor Malcolm, Councillor, I've been told, Councillor Alderman Bruno, Councillor Marina, and Councillor Tian, and then Alta, for everything that you guys are doing for us and helping us and assisting us to get these valuations correct. Because I would never be able to sell the property at what the council's marketing them at now. We would never be able to sell it if we had to put it on the market for that price right today. Some of the valuations, I must say, have been okay. We've had 1 or 2 clients come in and we've checked out the valuation and they've been okay. So they're not going to be objecting to anything. But some of the clients, it's been way, way over. So that's for me.
All right. Thank you very much, Chantal. So Chantal, before I also open up, I can also open up, but the first person to ask a question will be Willie, because he's had his hand up just before he started. And if there's any other questions and requests for Chantal, please also feel free to raise your hand and we'll take it. But Willie, please go ahead.
Hello, Malcolm. Thank you for the opportunity. As Chantal is just saying, you know, I'm also a pensioner. I'm staying here in Brackenhurst, and I've checked my new valuation against my old valuation, and it came down by 500K. So, is it worth for me to object for, you know, the valuation, or is that sort of in line with what we should expect?
Okay, so I think Alta, if you're still around, you can just advise on that. I hope you have that as well. And then before I go to Bruna, I'm just gonna let you know that yes, one of the councillors just let me know that they have to leave now, but We had Councillor Wendy Morgan as well, who joined us in the meeting, and also thanks Councillor Kate Guerrero, who was also informing us about the realities on in terms of the RDP houses. Thanks, guys, for joining us. And I'm going to give over to Bruna before Alta comes in and just clarifies for Billy as to what to do. Thanks. Bruna? Bruna, I've just asked you to unmute. Bruna, are you still with us? I've seen you, Bruna. I'm lowering your hand because you don't need to, but I'm just waiting for you to unmute so that you can speak to us, Bruna. I think Bruna is now dropped off for connection. Oh, no, she's there. Bruna, if you can unmute, please.
Malcolm, if you are the organizer, you can unmute her.
Yeah, I've asked her to unmute. So like from the host, it asks the person to unmute.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, now we have you, Bruna. Welcome.
Okay, sorry about that. Sorry, I couldn't unmute. Okay.
No problem.
Okay, I just want to say thank you to Alta and to you and to Chantal for the presentation. I just want to inform the community that we will be having another table on Saturday morning at Alberton Mall, and I'm sure Chantal and other estate agents were going to be there again. Okay, and we will do everything in our power to assist the community. I have put in questions because there's not only one valuer, we got 7 valuers, and these 7 valuers are very, how can I say, are very suspect, because when they applied to get the contract, 3 or 4 of them, there were prices of what they would charge in the council, and 4 of them, there was no amount of money that they are charging. So that is very suspect, and we have asked questions. I hope we'll get answers at the end of April at the council meeting. So please, anybody who needs assistance and wants to come and see us on Saturday morning at Alberton Mall from 10 o'clock until about 1 o'clock, we shall be there. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Bruna. I'm just going to have Alta just clarify for Willie. Alta?
Thank you very much. Willie, yes, it depends how much your property is worth currently. As you heard, Chantal said the property market is sort of stable and should only have gone up by maybe 1%, and we also saw that on that F&B index. Now, if you don't object, the city might go through the valuation roll and see that your property has been decreased, and they can then put the objection in against your property to ask the municipal valuer and the appeals board to adjust your property value up. So they might even adjust it more than what it is currently. So I would really recommend that you do put an objection in, so that you've at least, when it goes to the appeals board, you've at least got a leg to stand on. So that will be my recommendation for you. Then I saw that there's a question from Itumeleng. Itumeleng, yes, body corporates will also have to put in objection. They need to look at the value of the common property that they pay the rates on, what the increases are. We've got people's garages that's been increased from 100,000 Rand to 1.1 million. So people in flats and townhouses must also really go and have a look at what is the new value, and encourage the body corporates to also do the same, to check what the increase is on a common property, because obviously that will then increase the rates that all of the property owners will pay on a monthly basis.
Okay, that
Then I
is
see,
okay.
sorry Malcolm, I see that there's a follow-up question from her. Will all first-time property buyers be affected by the new valuations in terms of the bonds and loans? So obviously the answer will be yes. Anybody that's buying a property will be affected by this. Let's say you would like to go and purchase a house that is worth maybe 1.1 million, and the valuation according to the owner is 3 million, because that is what the council is saying. The bank might look at it and do their own calculations and say, but the property is only valued at 1 million, and they'll only give you then a bond on the 1 million value. It can also go the other way around in terms of their calculations when they do the bond applications. So yes, there's definitely influence. So that's why we must every person staying in Ekurhuleni that is an owner of a property must make sure that our properties are correctly valued, because it's not only for ourselves, it's for the people in our neighborhood, it's people in our suburbs, it's for everybody in Ekurhuleni to make sure that our properties are not over or undervalued. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Alta. And I'm gonna take Councillor Kate Guerrero before I do last comments. Thanks, Kate.
Thanks, Malcolm, and thanks to everyone that has assisted with this meeting. It's been fantastic. To all the Leondale residents of Ward 40, the residents of Bushlet Park, as well as the residents of the Pumla area, we will also be continuing with our petitions at the Leondale Spa. We also will be submitting. Obviously, one of the aspects that we are concerned about is that we've got RDP houses that have increased. Some of them triple to their values. Now obviously, as much as many of our residents are indigents, we're also having a situation where this is going to affect the pockets of our community. So we will also be continuing the petition on our side, which we will also be assisting residents in sending them the application forms or the forms that they can fill out to put their objections in. So that'll be done obviously from our side of the Ward 40 and 41 side. Thanks so much, Malcolm.
Sorry, I'm speaking and I'm still on mute. So thank you, Councillor Kate Guerrero, for your side, and thanks for also doing the work to represent the residents of Bushlet Park and Leondale side. We appreciate that. And then I just want to set something out. I will try and let me try and get my what's this, the link. I'm just gonna try and get the link quickly for the petition so that you have it. I'm gonna post it on the group for now, so that you can use it. Sorry about that. So I'm just gonna put the link here in the chat for the petition for you to sign. Please do sign the petition that Alta was talking about, and I think it also helps, to do that petition online. It's much more convenient. And also, I must actually stress that yes, we do want you to sign the petition based on procedural matters or issues. However, I must also stress that please note that a petition is not an objection on your property. You still need to go into council and submit your objection. So I know you know, like some people believe or think that the petition would be would be that. So please do object, as Alta says to you, Peter, that when it comes to your property, we please do object, but also do sign our petition so that we have a stronger case when we raise issues of procedural issues with government. All right, thank you very much, everyone, and thank you very much, Alta. It was a great meeting, I think. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope everybody on Facebook, you also enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me. I think we have managed to catch on a lot of things in an hour or so. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.